Welcome to Working on Exploring. This is a bit off topic for us, so if this is the first time you've come to our channel, I'm Steve. My wife Cheryl and I started this channel a couple years ago when we started building our own custom camper. Now we're at the point where the old test bed camper has been sitting here in the shop for a couple years and it's time to move that on. So we've had some repairs that we've needed to make to it, and because I've always been more focused on building new stuff than fixing old stuff, I haven't done it, but now is the time to kind of finish up on this camper. And if you're a candidate to buy an old camper, which I do recommend, you got to be ready for some major repairs. We've actually had 3 different significant repairs that we've done to it. The first one was the side skirts to it, which you can see just out of the corner here. Both of the side skirts were very poorly protected from the manufacturer, and they both had significant rot in them. So I took them apart and replaced all of the rotted wood and then coated everything in polyester resin to make it waterproof. The second failure was the subject of a video we had about a year ago, which was the half of the floor in the camper had rotted out from a leak from the freshwater tank. And so I literally cut out all the old floor completely all the way through and grafted on and replaced 100% new material, and then I used polyester resin to coat all that material so it's impermeable to water for the future as well. And this is the third repair, which is to fix the leaks that were occurring in the front nose of the camper. It's time for some explanation of the next phase of Len's camper renovation. When I bought this camper, it had a little evidence of de-lamination right in this corner right here. And I realized that, and I was going to repair it. And so when I bought the camper and brought it home, I took this whole front cap off and peeled it down. I did quite a bit of repairing here. What I found over here in this corner here, there was some evidence of moisture, but there really wasn't any evidence of delamination that I could fix. Part of the problem with delamination is the backing material is this paperboard, which is made of layers of paper. And once the layers of paper get wet and they come apart, you cannot reconsolidate the paper without putting adhesive between every layer of paper that you can possibly find. But what I did find over on the right-hand side here was a good portion of this had rotted. So you can see there's some new wood that's grafted in here. And this dark brown that you see here, this is fiberglass chop strand mat that's been applied to the back side of the 1/8" Filon on the inside to restore its strength. And this was approximately 2.5, maybe 3 years ago when I did this. The repair here has been fairly good, but what I really do not like about this camper, and I advise anybody who are contemplating buying a truck camper, don't buy a front window. When you're laying in the bed, your head is against the window. It's not pleasant. It's the wrong angle. A huge surround around the window with an accompanying mini blind doesn't really help much at all to become an effective headboard for your bed. And they leak. Specifically, this window has leaked. The clearance lights have leaked. If you look at this particular piece of material right here, if you see the round hole, that's where one of the clearance lights were, and this is the edge of the camper. And so you can see the water stains running down here. This area here is where I attempted to put some resin in here to bind this together, but the water was leaking from this hole in and around inside of this thing. So it's always a problem to have holes in your material. So here's another hole. There's a clearance light here. This one didn't leak. This here had a leak from around the window. Sorry, I'm holding this. No, this is upside down here. Actually, it goes like this. This is a clearance light. This was the window here, so it leaked around this window and got all in through here. I did restore that with some fiberglass mat and resin, and it was just fine when I took it apart. You can see the separation of the Filon material from the backing material. And again, this is originally on this side over here. It's a clearance light right here. This clearance light wasn't bad, but this clearance light over here was. And so this has all been restored with fiberglass, but nonetheless, the Filon itself is not very strong and requires this paperboard backing material on it in order to stay flat. And so that's why you see bubbling in areas where Filon has become detached from its underlying substrate. So this camper restoration is going to be conducted by, first I remove the window, and I'm going to restore the window structure here with some 3/4 inch lumber. I can eliminate the window. This portion down here just had a thin aluminum fairing over the top of it. And since I'm going to restore this by putting 1/8 inch Luan over the top of this and then hand laying 2 layers of fiberglass, 1 layer of 1708 and then a finish layer of 6-ounce cloth on top of that in order to make it a smoother appearance. It'll be structurally extremely strong, which is one of the things that fronts of campers need to be, which this never was. But I'm going to reinforce this with some horizontal boards in here, which you can see it's got these rounded things here. These rounded underlying stiffeners here are about 1/2 inch too short to actually do anything at all, so they were functional. So I'm going to actually make some 3/4 inch short rounded things and run some 3/4 inch boards through here, so there's plenty of structurally strong surface for me to wrap a piece of 1/8 inch Luan plywood over. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Idea what this nose curvature now looks like. You can see it's stapled here at the top. It's really a really good thickness fit between the 1/8 inch Luan and 3 layers of Norboard, and it curls all the way down underneath. It's pretty nice and smooth all the way across. It's stapled all the way back here where it's going to be underneath of a seam piece of aluminum, and it's pretty straight. I think it should look pretty good if I can get the fiberglass on there acceptably.
In coming to repair this again, I had to make some decisions on how I was going to repair it. I didn't really like the Filon approach. The reason being is Filon is about a 30 thousandths thick layer of material, and it needs to be bonded to a backing. And the backing is the problem on the front of this camper because the camper has 2 significant curves to it. And so getting a curving backing and getting the Filon well adhered to it is really something that requires some tooling and some industrial process. And even though I'm a mechanical engineer and very versed on industrial process, I didn't want to go build the tools necessary. So I looked at my other options, which were either hand-laid fiberglass or a sheet of aluminum. And I seriously considered the sheet of aluminum for quite a while, but the sheet of aluminum is expensive, bad thermal conductor. It has also some difficulties in adhering it, so I decided, because I'm a fiberglass guy, I decided to use a couple layers of hand-laid fiberglass to repair the front of it. Now I've put 1 layer of 1708 25 ounce fiberglass on top of it. and thrown a little body putty in some of the deeper recesses, but there's still enough unevenness here to go around. My next plan is to actually, I'm going to put one more 6-ounce layer of fiberglass cloth on this as kind of a finish layer to help hide some of the texture of the heavier stuff. And then I'm probably just going to have to put a little bit more body putty into it to smooth it off. And then we're going to paint it. Okay, I've done a couple of phases here. After I got all the fiberglass on, and you can see the red spot putty, a little bit of that. I put a coat of this greenish tint here you can see is a jellied resin, which will hopefully hide most of the texture pattern of the 6-ounce fiberglass cloth. That's the last layer. So most outdoor paint doesn't attach to this very well, which is what I'm going to paint it with. So I have to put a coat of bonding primer on, which is what this white stuff is. So I'm going to put the bonding primer on, and that'll actually work as what's called the guide coat for me, which will help me identify any more little whoop-de-doos that I need to fix with spot putty. That's what's going on. The whole reason for this rebuild was because of water leakage. Water leaked into the front of this camper through two different places. It leaked in around the windows and it leaked in around the clearance lights. And so I decided to get new LED clearance lights. Not only were they sealed, the lights themselves were sealed, but they're smaller and should be able to present less seams for potential leaking. So. And of course the hole that I have around the wire here I've left absolutely as small as possible, so when I pack it full of butyl tape when I put them on, hopefully it will prevent any future leakage. Thanks for hanging out in the shop with me for this repair. If you're a do-it-yourselfer and interested in other types of repairs or construction, you can check out our other videos on the build sequence for Maximus, our new camper. If this information in this video was helpful to you, please give us a like. If you like other information on topics such as repair and construction of RVs, please check out our channel and subscribe. Any other questions on repairs or building RVs? I used to be a factory engineer for Safari Motor Coaches, so I have quite a bit of expertise, so drop a comment and I'll help you as best I can. I am so glad all the repairs to this camper are over. And then we're going to paint it.
What color are we painting it?
Some beige color that the lady of the house is going to pick.
Why do I have to pick the color? I don't get it.
You can do all the other work.
Okay.